All right, thank you, and everyone who joins the Internet of Value Foundation New York, episode 70. For all those who listen to the information in the future, I hope everyone finds this information as valuable as I know I do every single day in here, and from the diverse amount of mindsets and perspectives that come and share the information that they do. Welcome up, NY, man. I might be quiet for a moment unless you would like to speak and have some thoughts you'd like to speak about. I should say. And I'm going to send some invites out, see if we can get some more people in here. And welcome, Karen and Vet. Glad to see you guys in the space. Welcome up, Vet.
How are you guys doing?
Doing well today, man. I got home from work just a couple minutes ago. I kind of raced to get the space open and cooking food at the same time. Doing some rice and dumplings.
Oh, that's good.
But if there's anything you would like to speak about that, or I'd like to hear maybe some of your thoughts about how you enjoyed the space last night, talking about Evernote and hooks. I mean, it was a long space. It was almost 3 hours.
It was super long space. Yeah, it was pretty cool to talk with those folks. And yeah, it was actually a really good space. I really enjoyed it. Oh, I see Karma up here. Is it the real Karma? No, it is a fake Karma.
No, that's the real Karma.
Woohoo! Awesome. Yeah, Karma, how are you doing? We speak about the space yesterday. It was about Evernote, hooks, sidechains, and so on.
What space was this? Who hosted it?
So Rose did host it together with two other co-hosts. I think Chris is his name, and Fredo, yeah.
Fredo Corleone?
Oh, okay. No, Fredo Barash or something. Yeah, I don't know, but Fredo. It's just Fredo.
I love how he said the last name though. I was like, oh, that sounded really nice.
Wait. But do we know that character? Do we know who that is? Fredo Corleone?
Corleone?
Not off the top of my head.
Oh, that's Michael Corleone's brother from The Godfather. Sorry, as I was watching it the other day. So you said Fredo. I was like, oh, Fredo.
Well.
Well, Karma, how you doing today? I didn't think we would see you in space.
But it's good to see you.
Yeah, sometime one called. She's getting someone high on Special K.
Yeah.
So she's got to do that.
The community is craving some karma. Can you give the community some karma?
I don't know. Let's see if Congress can do anything. I'm curious though. The Evernote, because I'm pretty impressed with Evernote.
Yeah, it was just a talk. It was just, to be honest, it was a good space, but it was just too much. Maybe it was intended to be very technical, but the conversation was very, very, I would say, focused on topics who are very niche inside the topic, so very, very deep down. I assume, yeah, barely anyone really much cared. I think, because it was really, as I said, really deep down. But we gave in the beginning a good overview of the topics. Sidechains was a topic. Fees was a topic. What was a topic too? Ledger objects was a topic. Bridging was a topic. In my opinion, my favorite segments of the space yesterday were sidechains and bridging. I think that was, for also most people, the best to wrap their mind around it and what the issues are. The other topics were a bit too niche. let's say. Yeah. So sidechains and bridging was the topic, I would say, at least.
Now, I would definitely say you definitely talked about the theories of sidechains and the mechanics of the bridging a lot more for sure. But to hooks, I heard a couple of things mentioned about hooks that, I mean, we tried our best not to call them full-on smart contracts for a very long time, but I hear it being mentioned more and more that like the capabilities of what you'll be able to attach a hook to your account and it'll be able to do being vastly greater than what we thought about. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, see, this was this was for me personally something I wanted to learn more about, because I'm not really into hooks much. So I was curious to hear from Dennis in particular about his views and what he thinks about it, what's possible and what's not. Also considering his experience or past experience with smart contracts. He comes actually from the Ethereum side a couple of years ago, so he has smart contracts EVM experience as a developer. So and now he's doing hooks development, and he's one of the core developers of Rippledy. So that's actually a very, very unique and awesome career path he has so far. And so I was curious to hear about him and what he thinks, what is possible, what is not possible. Kind of also highlighting, possible downsides. Just because I'm always curious about this. Like what is possible, what is not possible. So that we not only hear about what is possible. Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. But thinking about the different capabilities of that hooks, of what hooks may be able to do you think it's fair to say that it is some sort of smart contract logic? It's just not an EVM smart contract.
Yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is a smart or logic piece of code, basically. This gets executed, but I think it's not Turing complete, which then tells you that you can do stuff, cannot do stuff that you could do on EVMs, and that's definitely something to keep in mind. I also threw in the the not the fear, but kind of the worry about, hey, with hooks we're going a very, very different path than the rest of the blockchain world, which is going EVM. HBAR has EVM, Avalanche has EVM, Flare has EVM. All these layer 2s, Polygon, Arbitrum, they're all building on the Ethereum EVM. So a lot of EVM is going on, and we're going like a total different route. So I was kind of curious to see, hey, is this positive or is this negative? Those kind of questions were mostly interesting to me.
Yeah, Karma, you got your hand up, man. Please feel free to jump in. It's only me, you, NY, Vet, and Shellfish up for right now. So
you mean Shelly?
Shelly, yes.
Yeah, I was just going to say, the EVMs are arguably not Turing complete. If you get theoretical, they're supposed to Turing complete. You have like infinite number of tries, but once you add in the transaction fee, you're going to run out of,
right. Yeah.
Eventually, and everybody used to be on MySpace too. So I think EVMs are interesting, but you have code auditing, additional cost there.
You have that also with hooks, by the way.
Yeah,
the auditing.
But hooks are like stitching together various, I don't know, I guess primitives is the right word, or existing features on Ledger. So you can. The only thing I guess but you can't create a loop with hooks because it only lets you do seven things, right? Is that correct?
Oh, I don't know, honestly, how much you can do. I know that you can have up to 10 hooks on one chain, and overall the paradigm of coding it is different, and
I think if you were to make two different accounts, I think you could theoretically create a nonstop loop.
And you know, the thing is also what I threw in is that the EVM world is very mature. You know, all the coding, all the smart contracts, good, bad practices, learnings. If you go a different route, then you know, of course, you have to learn this all bottom up again. You know, everything you have to learn. You need to go through all these phases of try and error, and yeah, that was I think for me personally something I was curious about. I mean, one thing is arguably a very big advantage, and we have to be, you know, just blatant with it, you know, honest, is it's good for people building on the XRPL, because imagine we would have EVM on the XRPL. All the projects, or almost many projects on the XRPL, they would probably get wiped out very soon, very quick by very mature, well-funded, established projects from other chains who just, you know, basically can copy paste their existing platform on the XRPL. So by us going a different route, we kind of can build our own advantage, you know, before those other folks would come in potentially. And I personally see this definitely as a advantage. You know, you go a different route, you become an expert in it, and kind of have your own niche in that sense, or you know, whatever you want to call it.
Well, I think one of the biggest advantages is actually the programming language itself. You know, thinking about the traditional world using Python, Java, and C++. I mean, this is a much more traditional style that I could see, you know, maybe catering more to industry players rather than where we have like this, you know, smart contract standard on EVM. And you make a really good point, Vet, when you kind of mentioned all the other networks all adopting EVM. It's really what we've seen happen so far.
Yeah, if I were, let's say, a VC or something, I probably would be interested in something that is not EVM, just maybe as, you know, diversifying. You know, you could say, hey, you know, I'm already so heavily invested in EVM businesses. I gonna invest also in something else just to, you know, kind of get some diversification on, and you know, as an insurance to have an alternative if you know, whatever, something is not working out. Definitely my opinion.
Yep. And I know I have different titles up top, so I'm still just cooking the rice right now. I'm almost done making some fried rice.
Cooking,
and I'm gonna put a whole bunch of posts up top and switch it around. Talk about a little bit of space travel and solar sails, and I know there's some things that Shellfish wanted to bring up, but nonetheless, let me not kill the conversation right now. Though, keep going.
But I think if 10 is the thing, then I think I was wrong with 7. 10 sounds good. In Death, I'm not sure if you could create an infinite loop, because if you had, say, wallet A do 10 transactions, trigger wallet B do 10 transactions, then you'd have to have wallet B trigger wallet C. There's got to be something to prevent wallet B from triggering something again on wallet A. Because if you allowed that, I could see, just a first thought, possibility of creating a loop, an infinite loop.
You know, like, it's hard to know, because hooks would then be theoretically anybody would be able to write a hook, and so it would be really interesting to see, how we would try and prevent something like that to be done. I mean, you know, eventually one of the wallets would run out of tokens because of transaction fees, but could be a lot of transactions. But say, welcome to the Spaceman. You got your hand up. Please go ahead, and then Karma, feel free to jump in again.
Thank you. I have a question for those of you that can answer it. I much appreciate it. Is there anyone here with a good knowledge on XRapid?
Well,
retired. I guess.
isn't that RippleNet now?
No, it's on-demand liquidity.
Oh, ODL, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
So does XRapid use XRP or goes through Ripple?
No, it's an old product. It's just like Karma said, they kind of coined it to ODL now, and there's a couple different ways to do ODL.
So let me break down something interesting. In the court case as well, 6 days ago, with the Fed now, there's a bunch of banks listed that are being used in the whole digital dollar thing. There's one European bank, and that one European bank is called Adyen. Adyen is a very newish bank from Amsterdam, and the only connection that I found so far with Adyen in regards to they're all over the place with the European digital identity and European CBDC. And since they're the only European or at least non-American bank in that list of the Fed now, I looked up what type of crypto they incorporated. And it turns out in 2018 they integrated XRapid. So if some of you could explain something more to me, then I don't have to delve into that rabbit hole myself. And I figured most of you might have a clue about what it is. So it seems relevant.
It possibly means that they are an ODL client today. I don't know how we could define that unless we see some sort of direct partnership. If you can find it online today, but it's possible. Then
What do you mean with ODL? Because I know several abbreviations with that.
On-demand liquidity.
All right. Okay. Fair enough. So what would you want? Like a few articles that explains it, or?
I guess. Well, I mean, right? It's theoretical in the sense of this. If it's an older article, there's no way to know if they were still partnered today, and if they're using the current product of what XRapid became, which was, XCurrent became, which was ODL.
No,
Right.
I think XRapid became ODL. XCurrent became RippleNet.
Man, it is so confusing sometimes. Yeah, you're right.
So I should look for ODL. That's the abbreviation I should look for.
I guess if you wanted to find if they were an ODL client and they posted that publicly in an article, or there was maybe a news article that was done on them.
Well, just so you know, Adyen has other noteworthy clients like Uber, Netflix, and Spotify, and also eBay. So if that would run through that'd be quite a find. But yeah, I'll dig a little bit deeper. Cheers.
Where was the bank located? In the U.S.?
Amsterdam, Adyen. I've got a list of US banks for the Fed now, but there's only one non-American bank on it, which is quite astonishing because many American banks, especially in Wyoming, speedy banks have been registering but have not been able to get certified. And all of a sudden there's a non-American bank on it. So it caught quite some flack, but I recognize the name from other projects. So I've been going a bit of a different direction in the rabbit hole. And
That is
yeah.
quite interesting. I didn't actually realize there was a non-U.S. bank that was initially listed on the Fed Now service.
Yeah, it's Adyen, Adyen. And Kathleen Long, who's been the owner of ARC, which is a Wyoming foundation, a speedy bank that basically plays according to all the rules. They have a one-on-one asset backing, and they also have to show that they own the keys. It's the most prominent law that you have for any U.S. state in Wyoming. So they are super compliant, but they can't get registered with the Fed. They won't let her join the table, and she's pretty pissed off that all of a sudden a non-American bank is suddenly on the list of Fed Now. But I don't think she's very aware of the connections that Adyen has. And since I'm looking at the whole angle from an EU-US partnership, which I've got quite some new news on as well, I'm kind of enjoying myself. But I might move my assets in. And diversify a little less based on what I'm finding. So I'm really wondering if I can read up something on XRapid. If you guys could help me with that, much appreciated.
Well, XRapid's gone from a branding point of view. And the ATN, I'm pretty sure, would have to have either a subsidiary or some sort of banking license here in the States to be on FedNow, I think. And the oldest banks I remember hanging around the XRP ledger, there was one, I forget if it was in Kansas or Missouri, the little boutique bank. And outside of that, yeah, you're probably going to find most of it in Wyoming.
Let me just share the tweet with Adyen. You might like that. And then you can look up Adyen in relation to XRapid. Maybe you guys can join me on my rabbit hole.
It might be, yeah, I'll look at that. It might be New River, and I could be totally wrong. But if you can find a New River bank from a long time ago, like maybe Google New River plus Ripple or something, there was a bank, and I looked them up. They were I think they were like under 10 people. Like it was a really small thing.
Okay, fair enough. New River. I pinned the tweet to the top, by the way. Thank you for allowing me to ask a question. Cheers.
No, and feel free to stay steak if you would like. I'm enjoying the information you're bringing. Although I might change the topic in a couple of minutes. I'm enjoying everything everyone is saying. But welcome up, Colbert. If you would like to speak, please feel free, man.
Yeah, long time no see. I haven't talked in a space in probably 7 months now or so. But I was going to ask a different question, but since the FedNow thing, we won't stay on it too long. But what's the talk about this metal coin and stuff like with the blockchain with metal? Because I knew they can't do instant settlement of payments without using some form of blockchain. But can they still be using Ripple's technology and like sourcing liquidity into other blockchains and somehow, if anyone knows anything about that, just let me know. But my main question actually, in another space I was going to ask was, when does the voting on automated market makers come into effect? Because I cannot find a date on anything about it, or when it's supposed to be voted on.
It's if I'm not mistaken, it's one of the amendments is just not being voted on yet, right?
Okay, and there's no like set dates on those. It just comes up.
Yeah, unfortunately not. It takes forever for us to even get all the validators in agreement of 80% consensus to make simple changes to NFT standards that we had issues with, some issues that existed on the XLS 20. So who really knows? I would really be happy though if it comes before the end of the year. Maybe quarter four.
Isn't it? The whole AMM thing.
I think the AMM coming to the mainnet will be huge, regardless if it's this year or next year. But it would really be nice to see it on the mainnet before the Hooks sidechain goes live. It just, at least in my opinion, I think it would be a cool dynamic to have. And then maybe future AMM sidechains also could be something interesting if we don't get it on the mainnet.
I tried explaining to my friend kind of what AMM was, but in a nutshell, isn't it just sourcing liquidity for the best possible price for the network or something? I just don't kind of know the logistics of it.
Yeah, I'd call it crowdsourced liquidity. But I'm going to have to hop off here, Death. Nice jumping in, though. Thanks for having me.
No, hey, good hearing you, Karma.
Bye, Karma. We'll see you tomorrow.
Definitely put a smile on my face when you came to the space. I would say, because there depends on the way you were looking at it. From perspective of retail or somebody who was trying to be profiting from an AMM, you could explain it like this: it's an automated market maker, right? And if you have to get into what a market maker is, should explain that separately and just say it's an automated service where you can be the market maker in providing the liquidity, and in doing so you receive a fee from those who would need to use that liquidity. And this is the perspective of, if you were locking your funds up in the automated market maker to try and have some sort of profit from it.
So you're helping with the arbitrage and the gaps and, I guess, liquidity, because you're staking, basically. You're putting it in. I guess, yeah.
Yeah, you're providing liquidity for a trading pair.
That makes total sense. Do you guys know anything more about that metal blockchain thing? I just never even heard of this metal coin thing until now, the Fed now.
Did I hear about, what was it? Sorry.
Apparently, the Fed Now service, hold on, I have it pulled up. It says the announcement said that the integration will allow metal users to instantly convert funds to stablecoin and back again using Fed Now send receive function.
Oh yeah, no, I won't come in 12 feet of anything from Proton, Metal, any of that stuff. Unfortunately, yeah. It's my own opinion.
Yeah, I didn't really think anything too much of it. It's just funny now because everyone was saying this and going to have nothing to do with blockchain, but in order for there to be instant settlement of funds, you have to use a distributed ledger technology. Like, there has to be something like that.
Well, no, I mean, not necessarily. So, in the case of a domestic settlement, we have an example of what's existed in Europe for a couple of years now with their real-time gross settlement, right? RTGS system. And it's the same conceptual manner in the United States, right? We have all of these financial institutions that will be connected to a hub as the Fed acts, and all of these APIs can interconnect with each other and distribute information ISO 20022 compliant. And this allows for real-time domestic gross settlement without the need of any distributed ledger technology.
But isn't that only, say, like you're on PayPal to PayPal an account, like everyone's on the same account to where they can just shift the funds over, like a Nostro Vostro being at that country. But like for actual real-time gross settlement from different currencies to other different currencies, you have to have an account sitting at that other bank or institution to be able to shift it instantly, don't you? Unless it's a DLT. I don't know if that made sense, but
no, you don't as long as they're a Fed partner. As long as they're a Fed Now partner, you do not, because everybody is interconnected by the Fed Now service.
Okay, would they have to hold, like the Fed, would they have to hold the other currencies on their like balance sheet or however they do it?
Are you talking? Did you mean internationally? I'm sorry.
Yeah, internationally, because I understand like. Sorry.
Yeah, internationally, it makes sense to have a distributed ledger system that could sit in the middle of said parties that would be doing interactions with each other. Would it be a JP Morgan and an HSBC, or your Bank of Canada doing an interaction with the Bank of Singapore? This makes a lot of sense to be able to bring the sovereign right back to those individuals as dollars without needing to hold those separate dollars overseas, as in the value, so it could be settled in said another bank, and at the same time, the benefit of the trust in the system that you'd be using in the sense of a distributed ledger.
Makes total sense. Domestic is definitely a lot more easy to figure out than international. International is going to be huge. When people don't have to work a week just to cover the fees of sending back to their families.
And one of the things, other than the fact that it being under domestic, so it's all under single jurisdiction in the sense of the United States, although we have 50 broken up jurisdictions, is it's all the same currency, right? It's all U.S. dollars, but internationally it becomes the Chinese yuan or the Japanese Chinese yen, Japanese yuan. Oh man, I got that confused.
Yeah, we got it.
But all the different currencies that exist in the countries.
Makes total sense. Yeah.
Hello.
Welcome up, Dot.
Thanks for having me up. How's everybody doing?
Doing all right.
Hi, Dot.
Pretty good. How are you?
Sorry, Dot. I left the last space. I don't ever miss Death Ranger space, and it was a really good conversation that we were all having.
Oh
So
no,
I'm
no,
sure it'll
y'all are
continue.
good. Y'all are good. I'm doing well. Steak, is it steak, Michael? That's funny.
Yeah, man.
That gets an instant follow. It made me laugh. Stake my claim. Fucking clever son of a bitch. That's a good one. Oh man. I'm doing good. I'm alive and well. Woke up, saw another day. Took care of some things that I needed to take care of that reduced a lot of anxiety for me. So really, I just need to mow my grass.
So you basically took a victory over procrastination. So that's a good start of the day.
Yeah, I did. I was really afraid to call because, like, I'm not gonna go into details, but like, it's just something I need to take care of, and was really
Sure.
afraid to call and take care of it. Just be depending on what the verdict was gonna be, but it all was good. So yeah,
Cool. So what brings you to XRP? I've never seen you in these spaces. Are you or are you more interested in the AI and the quantum and all
AI,
that?
quantum physics. I know XRP. I've been messing with Bitcoin since 2012. Um, I'm the first person ever to make it rain Bitcoin. Actually, it's on YouTube. It doesn't have that many views. It's just me drunkenly with my Google Glass, walking around throwing a bunch of fucking wallets to people with the keys on it. It's really stupid, but I mean, no other rapper can say that they fucking made it rain. Excuse my language. Am I allowed to curse in here?
I try to keep it without any cursing.
All right, I won't curse
You know,
then.
for-
But so that way they can't claim that they were the first person to make it rain because they're not. I am.
Yeah, that's pretty clever. I'm gonna look it up.
yeah. So you
I
did this
think
in
it's called
virtual
making it
setting?
rain bitcoins.
What was the
What'd you say,
game?
Def?
What was the game that you were in, or a virtual setting?
What do you mean? It was real life. I put them on QR codes and had the keys on there.
Oh wow,
Yeah, a third of people.
It's funny. That's what,
that's quite interesting. Oh, I guess some people got lucky there.
Yeah, they did actually, because like whenever it went like 69K, I think it was where I don't know on the. Let me find that damn YouTube video. Hang on, but on the video, I did the math at one point when Bitcoin was around close to like 69, when it was in the 60,000 marker. Hang on a second. It's called Making It Rain with Bitcoins or something like that. It's like really non-hype. There's no tags or nothing. It's not. It doesn't look like a viral video because it's not.
Maybe we can make it viral.
That'd be cool.
you've definitely been around a long time then if you were doing that in 2012.
Yeah, I think I did that in like 2014. But hang on, let me find it.
So, Death, what's up with you, man? What's on your mind lately?
Lately,
Found it.
I'm more go with the flow of the moment and let the universe do the guiding. But I would say, I definitely wanted to steer the topics in the space to talk about solar sails and some space travel. And I know there's some things that Shellfish wanted to speak on and had some thoughts over. And so if you want to get the video, Dot, if you don't mind, if we change the subject.
Now we change the subject. It's up top. I found it already. It's on. Yeah.
Excellent. And so, Selfish, if you want to go ahead and start maybe some of your thoughts, I'm grabbing some videos right now that'll be awesome for people to watch later on if they would like to.
So, so I was more curious because I know that they have the solar sails and Didn't we shoot the I can't remember which probe it was it Zuckerberg and Hawking, like their information out into the space towards whatever it was,
No,
Vega
no,
or something, right?
Zuckerberg's rocket blew up because of the O-rings, his payload.
How do you just come out with some random like smart stuff like that in the middle?
Because my friend's the engineer that handled that mission. Actually, Andrew
I love
Raiders.
it. I love it.
I swear to God.
Well, so my question was, so we use lasers, right? That's how we're shooting, like propelling the solar sails. Um, like, is it possible just to like time? I don't know if you can time the solar flares to do that. But or would you be able to actually just kind of like um do payloads into the sun that would actually like
No, it would get destroyed before it even fucking gets close.
Yeah,
but
100%.
to
And
but
so,
to use that
you know,
energy to push the sails? No.
no. If we were to do something with solar sails, the most control metric way that we'd be able to do it is after theoretically we were able to launch the satellite or ship into outer space. From outer space, we could beam an ionized laser beam at the solar sails that could then propel it in a single direction. Now, thinking about something like sending this to Proxima Centauri B, I think there was actually a really good representation of this in a couple movies that have came out, particularly Avatar, where you could simulate the arrival of a ship and how it could theoretically get there, moving 2/3 the speed of light. Something like Proxima Centauri B would only take us, what is it? Was it 20 years? Yeah, 20 years. No, I think it was 70. No, we're 7 light years away from it. Yeah, I think it would take about 20 years for us to theoretically get there from what we would be able to create from a propulsion of a solar sail. There's also another option, depending on the direction that you would be theoretically going. You could swing around the sun and use that to propel yourself a single direction, almost using the gravitational uh, structure of a said large object and using it to propel a single direction. Also, another thing you'd be able to do maybe with a solar sail, but actually using a star's and trying to plan when the star is going to have some sort of explosion. Very, very theoretically.
Aren't
I
there
don't.
stars that are like pulsars, like that are actually spinning and like shooting out like pulses of light regularly? Or you would have to kind of just decide that that's the star system you wanted to go towards to utilize that.
So, if I'm not mistaken, I have to look it up right again. But a pulsar is a dead star that has exploded, and they are as much as the ionized gas is being blown in two different directions, which gives it this incredible look. They're extremely rare, and trying to theoretically build a tool on planet Earth that would be able to utilize right, this theoretical star that we don't actually know if it actually exists or not. It's just theoretical based off of what we've been able to see from the spectrum of light and measurement that we theoretically create to think what we're seeing.
Never a dull moment with shellfish, huh, Death? I'm sorry. I've got like childlike wonder and silly questions. So what was the other one? Oh, so we were talking about the fusion reactors, right? And that was the cool thing today that I was like, oh, they're let me pull it up. They have like the Dragon ships with SpaceX, and it was really cool because they had Puff as like one of the propulsion engines, and I was like, holy shit! I'm sorry, I cursed in her space. It's Puff the dragon, right? So that was pretty cool. I'll post that up top for everybody.
I missed what you just said. I'm sorry about that.
It's
but
okay.
I did look it
I
up.
miss half the stuff I say too.
A pulsar is a rotating neutron star, and a neutron star is after a star or two very large structures filled with hot gas, basically level each other. In most cases, being two stars that would explode each other. But yeah, so it's even rarer in the sense that not only would you have to find the heart of a dying star that's still emitting energy and hasn't grown large enough in mass that it became a black hole, but it's spinning in what we would think of would be like a hundreds of thousands of miles, I guess theoretically, in a rotational spin.
I can't believe I'm the only one that ever has questions. Somebody else has to come up and ask some cool questions.
Sure, I got a few questions. What's your favorite color? I'm sorry. I've got childlike wonder too. I'm just a little bit mellow here. Anyway, no, I don't really have any questions, to be fairly honest. Most of this stuff is just going over my head, and I don't know the technicalities of it. I've heard of the generalization, but I need to read and learn a lot more on that. But, life.
Stranger has like such amazing knowledge. It's almost like skipping a rock on the surface is like all I can grasp half the time, but it's not going to be that I'm not going to skip that rock because, man, there's some really cool stuff that I'd miss out on if I didn't throw it.
Well, I'm happy that you're the one throwing it. I'm happy to listen. So no questions here. Just keep on throwing rocks, Shellfish. You're good at throwing rocks. And they're not that shallow either. I think they're, yeah. Keep it up.
It's literally only due to entanglement. Thank God for all these networks in here and like being able to be exposed to all this cool tech.
This day and age is so magnificent. It's marvelous, the amount of people, the variety that you meet online, the variety of topics. It just, on the one hand, it makes me feel so dumb. There's so much that I still don't know. And on the other hand, it's just such an overload of information. It's kind of a weird contradiction.
I have a question for Shelly.
Yes.
Damn, Shelly,
is it 36, 24, 36?
Do you believe that we are capable of doing terraforming? Because this is what discussed a lot with the Mars, that we can make it habitable and get an atmosphere going there and so on. Do you believe that?
Probably yes, but I don't know if in my lifetime, unless we had a life extension. I kind of like the idea of having like the suspended city above Mars. Do you remember us talking about there was like this thing where they would put an asteroid in orbit and then suspend a life kind of city, like a whole big city where you could operate through robots that would be on Mars. Do you remember being in that space or no?
Would be
this
easier.
was probably like 6 months ago.
Would be easier on Venus.
Venus?
Yeah, Venus, based off of the composure of the atmosphere and the gases that exist on Venus, the atmosphere, it would be much easier to have some sort of floating apparatus or floating city apparatus that existing rather than Mars.
What was the issue with Venus? Is it the gravity?
Unless you enjoy breathing in sulfur, it is
that was
extremely toxic to,
However,
and
you
it's
know,
hundreds of degrees.
the thing is, though, like if we had 3D printers, we could print out bodies that would be able to acclimate to that type of atmosphere, wouldn't we?
No shellfish, no.
Let's keep going with
Go-
this 3D printer thing, okay?
Let's not go that route. I'd
let's
like to
clone
touch.
I mean, they may look like a little demonic. It may take some getting used to. I might have a tail, a little bit of reptilian skin, but let's just go with it because I'd have to be able to breathe sulfur and.
I don't know why you had to use that term demonic there, but okay.
I'm trying to get everybody a good
And
visual.
reptilian too.
Yeah, I would say though. All right, so but to the terraforming thing, and then Steak, please jump in. I would say if we were going to terraform Mars, we would live there while we do it. Right? We could build in the cave systems very large habitable, survivable habitat that would also be protected from radiation because we're in the cave. And then we could launch nuclear bombs, right, simultaneously on multiple poles of Mars, and theoretically from the radiation and gases that we could bring from Earth. Yeah, we could terraform it, but it would take hundreds of years.
Steak's got his hand up.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Steak, and then Dot. Please feel free to jump in then.
Well, thank you for your kindness, because I am smoking a hash joint right now, so my short-term memory probably get lost at some point. But a little disclaimer there. Just a question for shellfish before we go to terraforming on Earth, before we do it anywhere else. If there are 3D printers, could there also be 4D printers?
I don't think that's in your pay grade. I think you have the UBI in this reality.
The UBI, thank you.
It got really mean. Ah.
Yeah, she's really mean. She's really demonic.
Oh, that was savage. That was reptilian-like.
Yeah. I don't know if I like the shellfish.
Yeah, that was not so crustacean of you, shellfish.
I have a question. Am I allowed to wear my hat backwards at the age of 33?
I think you should be able to wear your hat in any form of matter, even if it's backwards or upside down. Would want. Just, we deal with the repercussions of our actions in society.
Are fanny packs okay at 40?
Yeah.
You're probably better off not.
Not at 41, though. 40 is the last year you can.
That I can bring with me to a concert. And it's insulated. You could put a soda or a drink in it, like ice packs, and it'll like
merch on my site.
Yeah,
I really do. With my heart on it.
Well, I mean, it's good for carrying a firearm, so it's pretty sweet. It's got a big fake out. It's like, wow, you're going to Disney World. No, bitch, I'm packing a Mac 10. Not napkins, but a napkin and a Mac 10.
That's funny.
It's actually pretty hilarious.
You guys are funny, man. Dude, you know what my daughter said the other day? Like, just yesterday, actually. So they bumped her up in the swimming classes again. And so she's in level 4 now. And she was super excited to tell me, Daddy, I'm level 4 now. And I said, don't you know you're a genius? And I was like, kid you not. This little girl, she looked at me and she goes, I'm not a genius. I'm a god. And I was like, no. She's 5, dude. No.
She's accepting her fate. I love it.
I was so taken back by that. I really was, dude. Because she's 5. I didn't expect her to say that. Oh, man. I thought I'd share that with y'all. It was pretty funny.
I'm enjoying this space quite a bit. I haven't laughed this much in a while.
Laughter's good as long as there's subject matter behind what you're laughing at. Now, if you're just laughing randomly,
Yeah, laughing is good as long as you're not peeing yourself.
No, dude, I peed my pants. Was it fourth grade? This kid named Rodney Trout, rest in peace. I think he's dead now, but he kept making me laugh, man. I told him, I was like, dude, stop! I gotta pee really bad, and he kept making this face, and he did it again, and I laughed so hard I peed a little bit, and I remember my dad took me to a urologist, and they gave me medicine and everything. And I think my mom kind of went off on the teacher. It's like, if my son's got his hand up and he needs to go urinate, you should call on him and let him go take care of business. He shouldn't be holding it for that long. Yeah, so I peed my pants, fourth grade. Never forget it.
That is clearly evident. You remembered that very well.
Yeah.
We got thrown off the topic train though a little bit. It's okay, don't worry. Is anybody else up here that NY? You haven't even gotten to speak yet, man. If you would like to jump in, if you have any thoughts of anything we've spoken about or would like to speak, please feel free to.
Yeah, sorry, I was waiting for my time to talk. There was moments where I couldn't, but I could talk now. What's up with the solar sail? Is you trying to catch some wind?
Catch some wind, yeah. I mean, solar wind is a thing. Although it would be better to ride the curtails, almost, if you think about how a wave has formations in the ocean and it has a directional push. You want to ride the wave, and so for sure, if we were to send a probe or a ship or a habitable station to something like Centauri B, or maybe even the TRAPPIST system, which we could attach a ship to these solar sails, and from Earth beam ionized lasers at the sails. And I mean, we could theoretically today move almost 2/3 the speed of light. I think to the TRAPPIST system, using a technique like that would take about 35 years. But there's over 3 probable habitable livable planets that are 3 billion years older than Earth that exist inside of this TRAPPIST system. And so it would be quite extravagant if we could maybe send a probe over there and it have some sort of relay back of information. And then again, this is all speaking about theoreticals of if we wanted to move almost the speed of light or less than the speed of light, where I think we will have FTL, or faster than light, technologies in the next 50 to 100 years. It's my own personal opinion, released publicly, that we'll have these technologies. And the reason for that really being quantum processing and the ability to break down atomic notions of assimilations of these atomic structures that make up the material third dimensional realm that we think that we exist in, and be able to accurately use thoughts like quantum superposition to be able to superposition where photons exist at one point of theoretical space and time, and maybe be able to atomically assimilate a recreation of ourselves at this moment, or other words, teleportation. So I think we may have tools like that where thoughts of solar sails are trying to move as fast as light becomes more of like intergalactic, where it's like in our solar system where you wouldn't use a technology like that. You would more so use rockets and other sources of maybe fusion propellant as your fuel to move from one planet to the next. But for long distance, makes a lot of sense for me, and information itself. Sorry, Shelfus, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, so last summer we did the whole DART asteroid situation, right? Like they shot, I don't even know all the technology behind it, but I remember we landed on it, correct? What are the probabilities of like actually using the solar sails to move and manipulate the asteroids to where we can like bring them closer to us or utilize them as habitats to kind of like travel.
Now, it would be much easier to just hit them with bombs or missiles. Just kind of point them in the direction we want them to go in, or attach rockets to them, uh, theoretically. Dot, though, you got your hand up. Go ahead, man.
Why? The answer to that is a question. Why?
We've had like a few spaces. Like the asteroids have like some really cool usable like
gold and stuff on there, you know. But like, yeah, yeah. But like, why? The risk is not worth the reward, in my personal opinion. Like, I don't know. It's more like mess around and find out, you know. I wouldn't want to.
I was under the impression that there was a lot of usable resources on the asteroids, hence the asteroid mining that has been starting to be planned out.
Right.
There's a lot of companies that are focusing on risk assessment. So like
For sure.
at the end of the day, they're assessing every little piece of data to see the pros and the cons, the greatest effect the mission can have to like the least effect. Yeah, they're looking at that whole spectrum.
Yeah, you have to be very delicate also when thinking about theoretical objects that could be larger than Earth, and there's over 10,000 of them that exist in just our solar system that we think of. Bringing them closer to Earth could very well be extremely detrimental to the life of Earth. I could think of being one of the largest reasons why we wouldn't want them. And, you know, we got very lucky in our solar system the way that we theoretically think that Jupiter and Saturn exist has really protected our planet from too many asteroid collisions that, you know, could have ended life on this planet way long ago.
Okay, it's funny how all of a sudden, after all this time, they can see Pluto back in the Sumerian days, but now all of a sudden they're like, oh, you have a new moon. Like there's a second moon. That's not an asteroid that they brought closer into our orbit.
Still theoretical.
They don't know if it exists or not. It's a theory that there's a second moon.
For us on Earth, you said?
Oh yeah, there was this thing that came out from NASA that there was a second moon.
Yeah, it's still not. Still theoretical.
What?
Yeah, it's just well. So we have over 10,000 Earth-size objects, right, in our solar system, and so it could have just been one that maybe they're thinking it's stuck in our close orbit. Maybe, I don't know. I do remember reading that, but it's still just something theoretical. Standard. Oh, you did the thumbs down. Thumbs down though. I'd like to...
Just there's not 10,000 Earth-sized objects in our solar system, but that was the thumbs down. But really, where I was going with this off Dot's comment of why mine an asteroid, it has to do with the availability of resources.
No, I didn't say why mine it. I said why. What she was talking about, like knocking it to get it to come closer to Earth.
Okay. So same point. So if you can nudge an asteroid with, you know, like a, you know, gigantic percentage of, say, metal content around the Earth, you can mine it in low Earth orbit rather than needing to mine it on Earth and then get resources into space. So the whole point is to put it in closer proximity to Earth so we don't have to spend so much money and resources to get it off of our atmosphere and gravity. So that way, like, that killer asteroid that's going to take out Earth can just be nudged and put into orbit, and now it becomes an asset.
Dot, after we were in the spaces, I can't remember if it was the beginning of this week or last week, because I like have this like obsession where like I research space mining, lunar mining, asteroid mining, 3D printers, living on Mars, like all these like crazy topics that we talk about in here. And I think it was something astronomical, like the amount it costs for us to go into space right now to retrieve helium-3 from the moon. It was like 1,500 times like the cost that it would cost us, the amount of benefit, I think financially, because that's what the fusion reactors are going to run on, and that's basically free energy. And they have the ITER, CERN, and JET all working to create these fusion reactors that are supposedly starting to test out in the south of France in 2025, which is pretty freaking awesome. And I'm not that great with the mechanicals and everything behind it, but I'm just starting to learn about it, and it's just really cool.
What do you guys think about Astra, the space company that handles small payloads and can get basically anything to the International Space Station in a matter of a day or two? It's amazing, the technology they have.
They're not focusing on reusability, and that's
Yeah, they
that
are.
just seems they're on reusability right now, because the last I heard they were still doing one-way trips.
Well, I mean, they are focused on getting to that. That's not something they're not focused on. They just switched the main engine, which a lot of people were upset about, which drove the stock down substantially, which is stupid because they got government contracts, and if anybody understands government contracts, yes, they can, cancel it in a sense, right? But they just made new ones, not just a couple months ago. So I hope these people are okay. There's an accident.
I hadn't heard about the new rocket, or the new engine, but I mean,
Yeah.
Astra, that it's nice because right now, if you want to go with SpaceX, you've got to go on SpaceX's schedule, which is nice. If there was a supplemental system, but I don't know, it would have to be so price competitive with SpaceX.
No, it is. They got a lot of contracts with the Air Force.
Yeah,
United
but
States.
the private sector, if the private sector wants to put up something, they need to be able to get a better
Well,
price
they
than.
came from SpaceX. So these guys, they basically, SpaceX, Elon said he didn't see the point of, small payloads, wasn't really that profitable or whatever, but they made it to where it is profitable because they're able to, essentially get your stuff up and out in a matter of just, 2 days, 48 hours, I think it is.
But is it
Yeah.
economic? Well, so it might be economically sustainable, but is it environmentally sustainable?
What do you mean environmental?
Well, the reusability of the rocket, does it fit ecologically?
Are you saying does it work like SpaceX and lands, takes off and then lands and then
Yeah,
runs up?
the efficiency. It's one thing if you can build a model to get something there, but it
It's
might
not.
be
It's not. No, because it's not needed. They're so small. These are not. The rocket's probably a little bit bigger than your car. It's probably just two lengths of your car. These are small rockets taking small payloads real quick. From small satellites to stuff to the International Space Station. Look them up. It's pretty cool, man.
Okay, I think I bought some of their stock a while back. As soon as you said that, I'm like, I know that name.
I did. Yeah, I bought quite a few shares because it's cheap. I'm not. This is not financial advice at all whatsoever, right? I look at it though from they have contracts that exist, and then the government's made more contracts with them recently. So obviously they know they're doing something right, and the moment they start launching again and successfully getting these payloads taken care of, then it's just gonna their company's gonna take off from there. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, they
Like
They had some very visible like loss of payload though. Like if I'm not mistaken, like 2 years ago they had like detonations on the pad and they lost their
That
payload.
was with their old rocket. That's why they scratched the whole thing and said we're starting fresh. And that's why you see such a uh, dive in their stock, is because people, they panicked, they FOMO'd it, you know, and that's unfortunate, because I think it's a good thing to realize and come to, a conclusion that, hey, this isn't working, right? So let's create something new that's gonna work and that's gonna be successful. I think it was a very good, smart move on their end.
Deputy, are you alive?
I didn't mean to kill the room by talking about Astra. I'm sorry. I mean, I like
Hey,
space.
I want like you can
It's
please carry on. Like I find it fascinating.
I mean, like, it's so everything's got its purpose, right? And they've definitely got their purpose, because to be able to set up and launch, and I think it's within 48 hours. That's amazing, because I guess not a lot of people realize that the rockets that SpaceX launched, right? It's not just like 2 months ago somebody was like, "Hey, I want something launched into space." No, this is like years in planning, right? That that they do these launches, but to have a rocket that you can just set up and get it ready to go, I think it's 48 hours. I want to look it up, but I'm driving right now.
Yeah, they still have to
Um,
clear the airspace.
But yeah, still though, that's amazing, because that's the biggest roadblock with getting things up into orbit and everything. I mean, just getting things launched in general, right? Is the whole facts of the matter that it takes planning, long, 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 long planning, because of the sheer size of it and where you're launching it from. But with Astra, it's a small rocket and it can be transported anywhere. And so it just makes a lot of sense. I don't see why a lot of other people aren't doing like what Shellfish said. She's like, I think I bought some stock, because it doesn't hurt. Last time I looked, which I don't really like looking at it because it's been in the bleeding area for quite some time, but I think it will bounce back and do really well. It was like 30 cents a share or something stupid cheap.
Sorry, I got rugged before. I had a call for a minute there. Where did the standard go? I just went and got the article.
He'll be back. I think didn't he say he had to pick up his I can't remember if he had a son or a daughter,
Oh,
but
you're
I think he had to
right.
go.
Yeah, about
Um,
the objects floating in the solar
yeah.
system. Yeah, so and especially you don't need such a large rocket that costs such a large amount when launching, especially satellites. Like I've been looking into a lot of these new satellites that are going to go up they're the size of microchips. I mean, they're astronomically small, and you don't need something like a large rocket to propel small little satellites on there. It makes the affordability also of launching them much more affordable. Oh, I should go get that company that I was looking at. That can't
Yeah,
remember
sure.
the top.
Wait a
Not
second.
for the
So
not for the rockets, but for the satellites that were the size of microchips.
does this tie into the conversation we had on Tuesday as far as the microchips that were so thin that they had like a gas residue? Is that what you were talking about? Are these the same type of? Is this the same kind of premise or company, or
Are you
am I
talking about?
mistaken?
Are you talking about ADL?
I don't know that you said the company name before, but you
No,
were
it's
talking
not. It's
on Tuesday.
atomic deposition layering.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you were saying you were talking about a microchip, a sub, an atomic. How did you say it again? ADL.
Atomic deposition layering, ADL. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So those are the same things that they're shooting into space as far
No,
as.
no, that's a technique on how we build these very small quantum on atomic scales, right? Or quantum superconducting processors and other like nanomaterial they term it, but anything that's 3 atoms thick material wise, these different types of procedures are done to create the material. And again, that was ADL, atomic deposition layering, just in case anybody wants to look into it. It's pretty cool.
So these rockets that we're talking about launching here, are these the same things that they're doing in like India and Korea and Japan, or is this just like something US based? Are we
You
doing
talking about Astra?
collaborations?
You talking about Astra?
Well, I guess I would imagine Astra is one of the companies that's doing the
Astra's
smaller rockets.
US based, but
Yeah.
like the ones that were in India, I don't even think they got anywhere. I think it blew up, didn't it? I don't know what company it is.
Honestly, I had never looked into the actual size of the Astra rockets. I just thought it was a cool company, and
Yeah, they're small.
yeah, that's awesome. So, but my question was, do any other countries, are they experimenting with the smaller rockets like we are?
I'm sure, probably. I mean, if we're doing it, there's definitely competition.
For sure.
So
Just average.
just for
The tools that we use typically over here in America are of higher quality, and that really comes down to, unfortunately and fortunately, the fact that U.S. dollar is the world's reserve currency at the moment makes it more affordable to buy higher end technology and be able to innovate higher end materials at the moment. But I think that'll change.
So is this tying back into like this? So the smaller rockets, is this more tied into the space hotels that are going to be coming up in the next 2 to 5 years that are like with Vast, and like I think we've talked about Disney and Hilton and all these other companies. So are these smaller rockets going to be more for civilian based luxurious travel into LEO?
I don't think that this particular company that Dot was talking about is building rockets to do such as that. There's a lot of more regulation that you'd have to worry about, of course, because you're putting people's lives at risk to go through to build a rocket that would be able to be granted.
I'll be back.
What'd you say, Dot? Oh, he said he'll be back. Sorry. So I don't know necessarily that particular company, but when I think about having a luxurious experience to get to space, it is definitely not being strapped to the end of a rocket and launching with G-forces, up to 8 G-forces to the. You have to go through a tremendous amount of training just to be able to deal with it, right? I think the best way to do it is actually how we saw. What's the name? Not Blue Origin. Not. They're bankrupt already. I'm sorry.
Death Ranger, you say that it takes a lot of training to go through this, but then you have all this stuff where you see this feeble old man, William Shatner. God bless him. I'm
Correct.
a huge Star Trek fan and all of it. I mean, he's old.
No, but this is the method that I'm talking about how it would be a luxurious experience. He was not strapped to a rocket that got launched straight up. What was the company's name? It was exactly who I was trying to quote. I just can't remember. A Virgin Galactic. Yes, so they launched a rocket ship from an airplane and just glided up. But they didn't even go past, really like 40,000 feet. They really weren't even in outer space. I mean, they were just at the ionosphere. Not nowhere near the ISS. The ISS was many miles still higher.
You know what? You say that they went bankrupt, but they just signed deals with Land Rover, and I think they have new contracts out. I don't think they're going anywhere.
That doesn't change that they still filed for Chapter C bankruptcy.
It's American. Like, people file for bankruptcy all the time in the U.S. It's just restructuring.
Okay. Anyway, regardless, that would be like your luxurious, right, type of experience that somebody like William Shatner would be able to handle. But then again, you're probably not going to be able to do that and get to your low Earth orbit station, right? It didn't even have enough propellant in it to be able to sustain itself for more than 30 minutes in this very in the low Earth orbit. So I mean, to think that it would be able to get to like your substation, drop you off, and then return back, and then somebody comes and picks you up, or it stays there, right? And it's attached to the station, so just in case there's an emergency, you need to leave, you can always emergency departure. I think it still makes a lot more sense that we need much more innovative technologies for that to be accessible. Or you're only going to have your other than it costing a tremendous amount to go to outer space, you're going to have to go through a tremendous amount of training just for the fact that you're going to be strapped to a rocket and launched.
Hey, Vet, can I strap you to a rocket and launch you into space? Would you be up for that?
No, Shellfish, no. Goddamn Shellfish.
I mean, it's serious, right? You go over 5Gs, and you theoretically could have, memory loss. You could have tremors for the rest of your life. Could be a lot of things that could be caused. You could have a heart attack. So it really does take a tremendous amount of training to be able to be strapped to the rocket going 2,000 miles per hour.
But I mean, we are like aware that I would put him inside the rocket, right? Not outside.
Wow. I mean, at least, not
Hey,
full cost
when
savings.
moon.
Yeah, that's the moon, right? Let's shoot folks to the moon. No, Shellfish, you got to deal with it. We are stuck here on Earth. Just live with it and enjoy.
I'd really like to see a combination of both, where we could have, say, a ship that carries up a ship more relatable instead of a plane, but more relatable to how we have Starship from SpaceX, and maybe drop that from 35,000 feet, and it catch itself, point itself up in the up direction, and I don't know, right? Does that take a tremendous amount of thrust? Yeah, that would take a tremendous amount of thrust, and is all of the fuel eaten up in that action? There's just a lot of questions for the actual ability to get not people who would be doing things like space mining or work in the right international space stations or even just space habitats for countries, but to actually get retail up there or individuals who will pay for luxury. You have to make the whole experience luxurious, and I just, yeah, I don't know necessarily how many people would be willing to go through the rigorous training of being able to be cleared to take on that much G-force, like astronauts do today. Or maybe you just you sign your life away, and they whatever user agreement it is, it says if anything happens to you, they're not liable for it. That's also a possibility, I guess.
Yeah, still waiting for me to sing "Twinkle Twinkle."
No. Oh god. No, I've been listening. Thanks for bringing me up. No, I've been listening to the conversation. I can't believe you guys haven't mentioned space elevators yet. And I was kind of thinking about it the other day. We've really pushed the limits of, skyscrapers and, that kind of engineering that goes behind that. Look at the, I've forgotten the bloody name of the building, the one in Dubai, that's just phenomenal. And then you look at all the kind of engineering, hurdles that they're getting over with, all the buildings they're building on, is it Billionaires Row in New York and stuff like that. And it's kind of making me think, like, a lot of people don't actually live in these buildings, but, so much money gets poured into it. Is it kind of an engineering exercise to, like, let's see how far we can really push this thing, so we can basically build a space elevator one day?
Well, Dazzling, I was waiting for you to come up to mention it. I've actually thought about it multiple times, and it's a conversation in of itself. And I only have like 8 minutes left before I have to close the space. So I was like, oh, I want to mention it, but well, you did it now. So
I was right there too, Dazzling. I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. That's so Shelley.
And so this is going to be my choice of methodology of where I think that the easiest use case to get into low Earth orbit, which, a space elevator. Well, where do you build such a thing? Well, you have a couple locations, Alaska or Antarctica, because we have flights that are going on all over the country, all over the world, and this could be extremely dangerous to something like a space hotel, which you also figure are going to have not only structurally going to be large, but also have lots of low Earth orbit objects and ships, planes, helicopters, all around it from a standpoint of security. So for sure, the method I think will be used will be something like a space elevator. Just from an economical standpoint, yeah, it makes so much more sense for bringing resources into outer space that could then be built in outer space, assembled there, rockets, fuel, resources, and then launched.
I could imagine it'd definitely be much more of a more comfortable journey heading up there in a space elevator than the methods today. But wouldn't it make more sense to maybe build it on a higher elevation? Like some I don't know, like in India or something like that. I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking out loud here.
No, I don't actually think it matters in the sense of the space elevator itself is going to be somewhat of a habitable station itself. I mean, there's going to be people in such a structure. There would be, you could think of it almost as a city, right? It's an elevator city, because you'd have people living there, working there. You'd need food, restaurants, all the amenities, luxuries. And so I see this as an opportunity to just build a mega structure, right? It would be our species' first mega structure that we would build on the Earth that could then be propelled or suspended into outer space.
So it sounds like it's a vertical turnpike, and I hope they have better bathrooms.
Yeah, and there's also a secondary option, right? The space elevator actually be existing in low Earth orbit and not even be attached to the ground of the Earth, but actually be suspended or suspended in the meaning of, strapping it to the planet in multiple ways, like we do see bridges done today, and then just having some sort of rail system that leads up to that, and then you just have the existing habitable structure from low Earth orbit outer into the outer orbit of Earth. There's two different methodologies. In that one, you could theoretically build in any city or any real zone that doesn't have too much flights going through it. You just would need some sort of FAA approval. Create a no-fly zone.
Dazzling, there's a really cool guide to follow on LinkedIn. There's actually a space consortium that you can follow, and they have this whole space elevator with like these gold graphene nanotubules, I think it was. Yeah, really cool stuff. And the MIT documents, like from like way back, like in like late 90s, early 2000s, showed the original plan was off of Antarctica and then out in the middle of I think either the Atlantic or the Pacific, and it like it had to be like either North or South Pole because of like I guess the the drag or like the spin of the planet obviously is less at the top or bottom, right? So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, like it definitely makes sense to have, say, like let's say a sky station, right? Where you can, because we know we can already get up there quite easily, so you can comfortably just launch up to there and then scoot off into outer space from there. But are there any companies kind of looking at building these kind of things at the moment, or is it just kind of in the
No,
concept design?
and it's just concept design, and this is the biggest reason being why I call it our species first megastructure, is because yes, do I think something like this could be built in like 2 or 3 years? Very highly probable. The resources to do so, it just from a country standpoint, this is a species thing. It has to be international, and I don't see any reason nor means for countries to work together to build something like that at the moment, at least. It's my only downside to why I think like this, the theoretical options of we know industry experts and companies are building space stations, they're building habitable stations, they're building luxury resorts out there, right? This is we know this for sure, right? From all of the contracts and documents that you could easily find that are accessible online. But how the transportation will really be done, yeah, it's still kind of questionable. And I know SpaceX is definitely up as a top contender. Contender. I don't know what is going on with me today, but I think it's still a long ways to go. Where it's like you could look at it from like this what happened with the Titan, right? And this horrible circumstance from this should not even be labeled submarine that was really not uh, able to do what the person advertised it to be able to do. And so we can't and don't want people to be in these dangerous situations, or these situations that have been created because somebody wants profit that could harm another individual. It's way different when you're sending resources up and supplies comparably to civilians. And I'm sorry, I have to end it here. I want to keep going with this conversation today, but it is Thursday. I have Flare Community Chat in a couple minutes. Solomon, thank you for coming in at the end there, man. Good to see you. I should say, hope you're well today. But I hope everybody has a good rest of the night. I enjoyed this space today. It wouldn't be what it was if it wasn't for everybody who joins here and speaks every day and the information that's shared. Sheen, I know you didn't really get to speak much, so I'm sorry about that. But I love you, man, and I hope everybody has a good rest of the week. We'll see you back Monday, 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. That's what it is, bro. It's 'cause I'm
about one of the most important
FCC. For anyone that wants to buy Flare Community Coin, you can do it here on the mint page. This is much better than buying from BlazeSwap because the liquidity isn't that great there, but this way you can actually get pretty much as you want with zero liquidity.